Hey there, it's Darlene. Welcome to my channel and my creative life. I'm working on a one-page layout today. I received a sketch. I'm doing a guest design team member on the Scrapping the Day Away website, which I'll have a link in the information below. But she did send me the sketch, and so I'm working on that. Now, I was at a 5-day scrapbooking retreat this past week/weekend, and I got a lot done. So look forward to a lot of those videos being posted. But in the meantime, I'm working on the sketch, and this one is when we went to a brewery. Yeah, I can't even think what they're called. And I just had the one picture of us and then one of our beers, and I wanted to scrapbook it. So I grabbed this kit. Now, this is a kit that I bought, or a collection that I bought years ago when I did a party, beer kind of themed party for my husband. I can't even remember who it's by or what, and I apologize for that, but I didn't have the original packaging. But as you can see, there was a lot of just scraps left. So my goal was to use as many of these scraps as possible. So the one that's there, that really large one that just has beer everywhere with the keg and the bottles and mugs, I'm definitely using that as the horizontal piece that needs to be there. The other two are those, they have kind of like a ribbon look going vertically. And then this part right here, I'm cutting it a little bit smaller. Now you can see here, it's only 2 inches. I'm going to cut it in half. Now the sketch required or shows that you have to have another piece of paper, a square, underneath all of this. Now I'm doing a little trick. So I only had those 2 1-inch strips, but see, if you place them exactly like even with each other on the top and bottom, nobody knows that those are just 1-inch strips. It looks like a full piece of paper that happens to be under those other ones. So that is a great thing to do, especially when you're determined to use a piece of paper, scraps, whatever, and it is, or you don't have enough. And tuck them under. Nobody knows. It doesn't have to be a full sheet. I love that idea. And you're actually going to see me doing that again. So see that it's kind of like a honey brownish yellow that has those little dots going across. I use that as one of the vertical pieces that I mentioned, and I made the mistake of making it a little bit shorter, and then I realized I didn't need it to be that short, so I'm going to do a little tricky thing like that as well, but you'll see that in just a minute. But in the meantime, this is exactly how I'm going to have it, but of course, like I mentioned, I need to make sure that everything is this exact same placement. So, because if I had it off, then it would be obvious that I didn't have those papers, or that paper wasn't a full sheet, because it wouldn't be off if it was one full sheet. So it's very important, like I mentioned, that it is in the same spot. So the only thing I had a little trouble with is, you see how it's off there, and so I'm putting the paper down, and then it's not even here. I mean, what a mess. I don't do anything straight. Even with the ruler or the T-square ruler, I don't think things are really straight. Maybe it's my eyes, maybe it's just me, I don't know. But I feel like when I talk to people, they kind of say the same thing. I'm not too worried about it most of the time, but in that particular time, I needed it to be even. And you can tell right here just by looking at it, it looks like a full piece of paper. So on both of these vertical strips, I'm going to do little fishtail banners. And all I do is you just eyeball the middle, and you can measure it if you want to. I'm an eyeballer and I'm okay with it. And then you slip it up in the middle like you saw me do. And then you go to each corner and just kind of cut up to that slit you just did. You see how I did that? Perfection. And this is what I was talking about with that yellow piece of paper. I should have kept the height okay, but I took it off because I knew I wanted it shorter than the other one. But what I didn't think about was the fact that I was also doing the fishtail banner on these, which shortened it. But again, no big deal, because it's tucked underneath that really large beer paper, and I just cut it, and I'm going to adjust it the height that I need once I put all these other strips on. So again, as long as it's lined up, no one is to know, except for you and I, because we're watching the video and I did it myself. But anyhow, this layout is actually pretty simple. I love the fact that there's so many different pattern papers. There's actually 4 different pattern papers on here. Yes, it's a little busy, I'm not going to lie, but I don't think it's so busy that the picture, you lose track of the picture. The little tiny one that I have in the corner, I do end up matting with white. Look at, I'm just using the back of these scraps. Now I know I have a bunch of white cardstock scraps somewhere too, but like I mentioned in the beginning of this film, I'm trying to use up these papers. Not that I need to, but it's always nice feeling to use a complete kit. And this is exactly what I did. Now, there are a few papers left over. There's also some stickers left over. And I'm still going to keep them because we do drink beer and we do have situations where we may need something. And if it gets to a point where I'm downsizing or I'm cleaning up stuff, if I have to toss a few things, look at, I'm not worried about it because I did use the majority of this kit. I am going to put the title as well on some white cardstock because I wanted that to stand out. So on the sketch, there was actually like a heart right there. I used that beer mug instead, and there were some arrows as well. So I am definitely going to use that one, but I kept it on the sheet for now. I tried to look at some of these other ones, but I wasn't really feeling it. Most of that was all like dark beer stuff. We weren't drinking dark beer, and also in glasses, and we were just drinking out of our pint glasses and my beer can because I did want to save that one. Let me talk to you again a little bit about that Scrapbooking the Day Away website. So you'll see it in my post on my blog, but also it is a site that it's just like all kinds of fun stuff with scrapbooking. There's a lot of fellowship, people sharing ideas. There's also sketches. There's tips and techniques and contests and just a ton of stuff and a lot of inspiration. If you're really looking for like a good scrapbooking community, Anne-Marie is the person who started this, and she is wonderful and positive. And like I said, it's just a lot of fun. So if that's something you're looking for, check it out. They do have a free membership, but they also have a paid membership. Now, of course, the paid membership, you're going to get a little bit more access to some of the more of the classes, and there's a lot of Zooms and just all kinds of stuff. But check it out. I'm going to have that link in the information box, like I mentioned. I'm also going to have a link to my blog, excuse me, and also to my Instagram account. I do hope that you like this video, and if you do, give me a thumbs up. And also leave a comment if you want to. I really appreciate comments. But also hit that subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. I do post 2 videos a week. One is always scrapbooking, and the other is whatever it is I'm creating in the command center, which is the name of my blog and also my craft room. And what those are usually like cards, or I do party decorations, I do Cricut stuff, I do mixed media, junk journaling. I do it all, folks. And if you're interested in any of or all of that, you can definitely check out my playlist or just the channel in general. But thank you so much for watching this. Here's a little bit of a close-up of what's going on. Again, I feel like even with the 4 papers, it just never got that busy. Thanks for watching.